This is the V train. So the V train starts at Forest Hill's 71st Continental Avenue, meeting with the G, E, and F trains. It makes its way down to 36th Street, where it splits up with the F train, with the F train going first down to 63rd Street. At the Queens Plaza, the V splits away from the G and R trains. After it reaches 7th Avenue 53rd Street, it meets up with the B and D trains. It splits off from the E train. When it reaches 47 50th Street to Rockefeller Center, it meets it with the F once again and travels local together until both East Side 2nd Avenue, and that's where the V ends, while the F continues on to Brooklyn. The yard the V was based out of was Jamaica Yard. The V had many equipment over the years, mainly using R32s, R42s, R40 mods, and R46s. Around the summer of 2001, the V was being introduced. They ran an R40 sent along the V as a test, but it eventually didn't work out. Also, I was unfortunately not old enough to never ride the V, but it seemed cool. It was alright. Now, let's get into the history of the V train. The V train was originally conceived as an IND 6th Avenue extra since the early 1980s, running via the 63rd Street. It appeared as an orange bullet on roll signs. The V also appeared on digital signs of the R44s and R46s with any route designation combination that could be used for the IND 6th Avenue line. The MTA in December 2000 announced plans for a new subway route running between 2nd Avenue Manhattan and Forest Hill 71st Avenue in Queens. The V train will run along the 6th Avenue line, 53rd Street Tunnel, and the Queens Boulevard line local tracks. This new route will supplement the F train, which will be routed to 63rd Street, and the E train through the 53rd Street Tunnel. The introduction of V train service was expected to increase the number of Queens Boulevard trains entering Manhattan by 9 trains per hour. To make room for V trains on the Queens Boulevard line, the G train was cut back to New Weekday Terminal at Long Island City Court Square, and the F train was rerouted via 63rd Street connector. In Manhattan, the F and V train made identical stops between 47th Street Rockefeller Center and Lower East Side 2nd Avenue at the terminal stop. As stated before, to prepare for the V introduction, rush hour service was simulated twice on Saturdays during early 2001. The first time the V was labeled as the 63rd Street Shuttle as an orange S that ran via 63rd Street, and the F ran via 53rd Street. As a replacement, the G train for the F ran to Jamaica 179th Street. It was particularly done to see if it was possible to maintain existing G train service along Queens Boulevard with the new V train added on. When this test became unsuccessful, the V's eventual service pattern via 53rd Street was tested on September 8, 2001. It was a success. Due to 9/11 September 11 attacks and numerous services being disrupted by damage sustained in the attacks, including the Queens Boulevard line with the R train, the Q train was rerouted to Queens Boulevard for a little bit to replace R service. The V's train entry into service was delayed. The MTA's Board Transit Committee voted on May 25, 2001 to commend the entirety of the board vote on the proposed V train. On May 31, 2001, the MTA board approved the operating plan for the opening of the 63rd Street connector, including the beginning of V train service, which would begin on November 11, 2001. The V train made its debut on December 17, 2001. Service ran every 6 minutes during rush hours and 10 minutes other times, running southbound from 71st Continental Avenue between 5:38 a.m. and 10:57 p.m. and northbound trains from 2nd Avenue between 5:54 a.m. and 11:33 p.m. Originally, people protested for the V to be routed on 63rd Street instead of 53rd Street, but MTA officials dismissed this proposal as ridership went up on the V in the upcoming years. Now, due to a fire in the exchanging room at Chambers Street, C service was completely knocked out and the V was sent down to Euclid Avenue in January of 2005. On top of that, an R38 ran on the V only up until February 2nd. In late 2009, the MTA confronted a financial crisis and many of the same service cuts threatened just months earlier during the previous budget cut crisis that were revisited. One of the proposals included completely phasing out M service and using the V as its replacement. Under this proposal, the V would no longer service Southern Terminus at Lower East Side 2nd Avenue. Instead, after leaving Broadway Lafayette Street, it would take the Christie Street connection and join the BMT Nassau Street line and stop at Essex Street in Manhattan before crossing the Williamsburg Bridge and serving all M stations to the middle of Metropolitan Avenue in Queens. The MTA determined that this move, while still a service cut, would actually benefit M passengers as approximately 17,000 of riders travel to stations on Manhattan, whereas 22,000 transferred to other lines to reach destinations in Midtown Manhattan. Additionally, this merger would open up new travel options for Northern Brooklyn and Queens J and Z train riders, and that will allow direct and more convenient access to areas that were not served by these routes before, such as Midtown Manhattan. On March 19, 2010, it was decided that the V train designation would be discontinued, and the new service would retain the M's designation, which would become Orange. Instead, will be representing the 96th Avenue line service. Many MTA board members has opposed elimination of the M designation, saying that passengers will be more comfortable with an M designation instead of the V. The V ceased operations on Friday, June 25, 2010, with the last train bound for Forest Hill 71st Avenue leaving Lower East Side 2nd Avenue at 11:33 p.m., with the last train being an R160. Now, my opinions on the V, it was a cool line. I like it, but I personally believe it should be brought back as an F Express designation or be brought back as a 2nd Avenue Subway Express, but that's just my personal opinion. But once again, I don't really have a true opinion about the V as I never really rode it often. I only heard of the V a few years later when I grew up and did some research on it. Also, kind of a side note, I haven't done a review in a long time since I would say around the summer of 2022, but that's alright. Also, there may be some overlapping, a tiny bit of stuttering, a little talking too fast, but it's alright. Anyway, back to the V train. The V, I wouldn't say it was the V wasn't an all useless line. A lot of people back then used to call the M useless and it was bad, but in reality, both were very reliable in their own respective way and played their own roles in the system. The V-train programs could still be found on the R160s, 143s, and 179s, but not the R211s due to them being overlapped with the Staten Island Railway codes. You could also find V-train logos on certain stations on the 6th Avenue line or QBL if you look hard enough to spot them. And guess this is the end of the review since I pretty have much more else to say. And good job for making it to the end of the review. And a person once said, you don't stop, you proceed, because this is what you need. Stand clear of the closing doors.